Hey you guys, I'm back with another video and I am happy to say that I've been doing a lot better. I've been going through some challenging life situations, but I'm dealing with it a day at a time. And with that being said, I think it's time we have a little impromptu discussion about Black mental health and our responsibility in making sure that we take care of ourselves first and foremost. And this video will serve as a check-in, and I really want to open this discussion up and see how you guys feel in regards to your own situation. So please feel free to leave your stories below in the comments section. Just talk about how you overcome stressful and debilitating circumstances or even provide some stress management tips. And I want to dedicate this video to a subscriber of mine who is going through arduous and mentally agonizing turmoil. I will be keeping this subscriber anonymous out of respect, but she will know that this story pertains to her. I happen to work with this person as well, and we'll talk about our shared experiences that we have with this manager. So let me tell you guys, this manager is extremely difficult to work with. She's overbearing, she micromanages, she has this predisposition to project her own failures onto others, and she has a host of other issues personally that spill over into her professional career, and this unfortunately affects the people who work around her. And due to her ego and with some narcissistic qualities, she doesn't understand how her behavior and her interactions create an unhealthy and hostile work environment, and her expectations are unrealistic. The woman that I work with has told me that the manager has assigned her to do training exercises in another department while also being tasked with training in her immediate department. And to make matters worse, the manager assigns administrative assignments on top of this with the expectation that all three of these projects can be equally managed and balanced. I'm not sure if you guys ever had a situation where your manager attempts to have you perform numerous job tasks with quixotic deadlines. However, it does take a toll on your psyche. I cannot tell you guys how many times me and this coworker have said to each other on a daily how much our head hurts because we are waiting anxiously for an email from our manager about something that we haven't had time to get to yet. And I wanted you guys to look at some facts I found online about micromanagement styles and how it houses a myriad of negative effects. When we look at this picture, it says, what are the negative effects of micromanaging? And it says, increase stress, frustration, and burnout, decrease productivity, poor health and mental well being. It stifles creativity and innovation, not scalable, it damages employee trust, and it increases turnover. And then here's even another list. So it says micromanagers demand to know how their employees are spending their time. So this gives us a definition or a breakdown about micromanagers, even down to the hour. This type of over management and over monitoring can stifle creativity and growth, incentivizing employees to focus more on appearing busy to appease their micromanager and less on producing quality work. After work, me and my coworker have said so many times that we want to find a new job, and we're always talking about how stressed out we are. The job is no longer enjoyable because of the presence of this manager. And to be honest, I'm not sure if there's anyone in the manager's corner telling her that her conduct is imperious and mentally exhausting to deal with. She seems to have this abrasive personality that does not sit well with the staff she manages because other people under her same supervision have left. At least three people have left as a result of her leadership, which I myself have described as a dictatorship. Now, earlier you guys heard me make mention of the ego, and what's interesting about the human ego is that it will not allow you to see your own flaws unless you're someone that believes in refining themselves on a routine basis. You guys listen to me talk all the time about how we have to work on refining ourselves and improving the way that we interpret our environment and carefully observe the perception that others have of us. And it's the same even outside the realm of racial politics. Impressions mean everything, and it sets the tone for how people perceive you. Outside of work, the coworker has been also having billing issues with their utility company, and the company is refusing to conduct an internal investigation to see where the discrepancy occurred because she's exceptionally responsible and she always pays her bills on time, But for some reason, her company is saying that her payments did not reflect on the past 2 months of statements. And so now that's just another area that causes stress, which contributes to the deterioration of our mental health. What we have to understand is that life is challenging. It tosses and turns us every which direction. And if we don't regain control, it can destroy us in the process. And I don't want that for any of us. When it seems like the largest obstacles in your path cannot be conquered, we must take a step back and reevaluate our approach and the way we choose to deal with obstructions. In the situation that I described about my coworker, the first thing I would recommend is talking to the manager to express that the responsibilities are being dispersed rapidly in a way that the quality of the projects will be impacted, especially if the deadline is impractical. Work itself is already a place where your stress levels will undoubtedly become heightened because of the grueling demands that come along with the job. But that doesn't mean you have to crumble under the pressures. Set parameters, tell your manager you can do this much within a specified amount of time, and then work on other projects at another period of time. Don't just sit quietly and internalize what you wish you could have said in that moment, because then that only leaves room for resentment to settle in. And I've also said this previously in my other mental health video, but for the sake of keeping a level head, don't hesitate to take that PTO. It is there for a reason. If it seems like you just can't do it today because it's Monday or Tuesday, use the PTO to your advantage. These jobs will have you believing that you need to establish a loyalty to it when in reality, they can replace you in a second the moment you're no longer there. And if all else fails, don't force yourself to stay in an environment that directly harms your tranquility. If you have to start looking for another job because the brutality of the job's demands are too excessive, then do that. I urge you to. Again, these jobs look at you as a number, and this is just business. Human emotion is not a factor in a company's design, so they don't have any contrition for your sudden departure. And I think you guys also know that there's no such thing as a perfect job. Let's just be honest. You can go anywhere, and there's always going to be one thing that gets on your nerves. And I don't think it's my place to tell you to job hop because I'm not a job hopper, but I am saying to look out for you because you are priority number one. And if it comes down to you and a job, you should always choose yourself to put first. In terms of the utility bill issue, I would try and contact the Better Business Bureau because that is not only unprofessional and uncivilized, but to me, it's indicative of some shady business practices. The fact that the company won't do anything to try and remedy the situation. Now, I can't go too much into detail with you guys for privacy reasons, but I can at least say that the company is not wanting to work with this girl at all. So she's basically out of luck. I would even suggest going to the local news station to try and put some fire underneath them because you never know if other people may have also faced a similar predicament where they too were subject to denial of quality resources needed for survival. And these are just some suggestions that I recommend, and I don't want this video to go too long, but it's just a brief discussion. But I do want to hear from you guys. How are all of you doing? And if you've had a difficult time recently or even currently, what self help tips can you provide in terms of comfort and maybe just even a peace of mind? Please weigh in below because some of what you guys do may be helpful to those who are silently suffering because they're not sure what path to take. But I'm just going to close this out with my advice. Stand up and stretch. Practice deep breathing exercises. Go outside and get some fresh air. Do some yoga. Go on a bike ride. Pamper yourself and go to the spa and treat yourself to a massage. If you can't do any of those things, then maybe try listening to some ASMR, relaxing white noise videos on YouTube. I think that that is kind of a little bit helpful, especially for a person like me. I kind of like to just turn on the sound of ocean waves. So even just something like that. And then, of course, just always make sure that you guys are drinking plenty of water. But in the meantime, just make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I thank you guys so much for the continued support, and I'll talk to you in my next video.